What's going on, guys? My name is Brandon, and today we're going to be doing some metalworking and some stick welding. Let me bring you in and show you what we're going to be working on. If you're a regular viewer, you'll know that we just redid all of this out here. The steps were all rotted out and leaning, the deck boards looked horrible, the railings were rough, so we redid all of this. Well, what I have to do is I got to get a railing that goes from here down to here. Now this is all concrete here, it's all precast, so I can't really attach wood and do it so that it's solid. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a steel column and weld on a plate to the bottom. We're going to have to drill some holes in it, then we're going to have to put some wood pieces around that, and then slide one of these sleeves over it, and then we can put on our railing. And of course we're going to build this stuff using all scrap metal. This is a piece of Schedule 40 steel pipe, and you can see it was at one time threaded on the end. I think somebody had maybe made like a clothesline out of this. So that's going to be our vertical post. I've got a piece of 3/8 thick plate. We're going to have to cut this down to size. It's got to be cut a little bit smaller. We have to cut this to length. We got a lot of prep, a lot of cleanup, and we're going to be using a lot of tools to do this little simple project. But it should be a lot of fun. You can see, just using a little handy material thickness gauge. I keep this with me a lot, so you can see it's a little bit fatter than 10 gauge, but it's a little thinner than 3/16, which is 0.1875 thousandths. This is a handy little tool to have. Doesn't cost a whole lot of money. It's nice to have when you go into the scrapyard and stuff. It only goes up to 5/16, so it doesn't really work on thicker stuff like that, but yeah, there's some pretty thick material right there, but that'll make a nice base, make it nice and solid. We'll get that cut to rough length, and I'm just going to go by one of the existing posts that we have here. That's just a 4x4, and the 4x4 is attached permanently to the deck. Then this sleeve just slides over the 4x4, and then it has a little base that trims that off. Then it has a top. I just haven't glued the tops on yet. What we'll do is we'll just get a rough length from top to bottom, and we'll cut a round post. You're probably wondering, how are we going to make this vinyl sleeve fit over that round post? Well, you're going to see shortly. So let's cut, just to give a little bit of leeway, 38 inches will make that round pipe. Alright guys, so one of the first things we got to do is we're going to square up one of the edges, and then we'll cut it to length. For this tool, I'm using one of Evolution's tools. This is one of their newest metal cutting chop saws. It's a dry cutting saw. It's a 15-inch saw, and this thing is a beast. I love it. I'm very happy with Evolution stuff. So we'll set that there, tighten up our clamp, and just take a little bit off the edge. And as always, if you want to know about any of the tools that I'm using, you guys can check the links down in the description. So we said we had to make this 38 inches long. So we'll put a little mark right there. That'll be close enough. One of the great features that I really like about this saw is that it has toolless angle adjustments. So you can cut miters with this saw without using a wrench. It's using this little dial right here, and the fence turns. Just a real nice feature. We're going to be using this feature quite a bit in an upcoming fabrication video that we're going to be doing. Probably in about 2 more weeks, I'm guessing. Roughly. 2 to 3 weeks. But I literally took it right off the saw. It's not even hot. Virtually burr free. It's just got that little tag on there, but that comes off easy with like a hand file. But yeah, super cool. You don't have to worry about burning your shop down like the regular abrasive saws making sparks everywhere. Just a real nice tool. Does a good job. Alright, so we've got this rough cut to length. Now we've got to cut our plate to rough length, and this is just a little larger than what we need. It measures 4" by 4". And we need it 3.5 by 3.5. So we'll have to take a 1/2 inch off in 2 different directions. That's a lot of material to be cutting off with this saw, but it can easily do it. Look how easy that is, guys. Look, right off the saw. Put my fingers right on it. It's not even hot. Alright, so we're at 3.5. Now we'll go 3.5 this way. There we go. Snug the handle down. And here we go. I got on my OSHA safety shorts to match my OSHA safety boots. Now I got to take out this little eye bolt thing. I might be able to unscrew it. If not, then I'll just cut it off with the diamond cutoff disc. Right, see if we can get this out of there. That was easy, no problem. There we go. Easy peasy. I told you guys we're going to be using a bunch of tools today. Now, this right here is my new Evolution mag drill, and you're going to find this in an upcoming episode. I've got a project scheduled for this that we're going to do, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a drill press out of it, and it should be pretty cool because my drill press that's right here doesn't have a whole lot of power. It doesn't really do everything that I need it to do. So this, we're going to make it so it's an all-around drill press. It's got incredible draw strength on it. 2,860 pounds of pull force. I mean, that'll do anything that we need to do with this, and it'll be portable. So you could take it somewhere. We're also going to make a fixture table out of this plate. We've got all kinds of things planned for this, but that's going to be in an upcoming episode. We're making a drill press out of this, and you're going to see that. But right now what I got to do is I got to lay out some holes because we're going to be putting some 3/8 concrete anchors into that concrete slab, and then this base right here, this is the base for the post, that'll slide over that those anchors. So we got to get a hole in each corner, a 3/8 hole, so we can get some anchors in it. So let me get that laid out, then we'll center punch it, and then this also takes, not only will this take like an annular cutter up to 1 5/8 inch diameter, it also comes with a drill chuck that comes in this, so it'll actually accept regular drill bits. So that's what we're going to be using for this right now. Now you definitely don't want to do what I'm doing right now with your good tools. This is just like it's a general tool. It's just a disposable tool that I use when I'm doing metal fabrication like this. I don't really care if they get beat up. It's not a precision instrument, or I don't use it as one. But you can see what I'm doing. I've center punched that, and watch how it'll just make a little mark. So it's making a little mark there, and it's making one there. So it's making a little cross hatch. Then I can just go through with my center punch and punch it on that mark. Now that gives me a nice place for our drill bit to set in there so it doesn't skip and wander all around. And the way I found where I wanted that is I basically just took the flat washer that I'm going to be using with that anchor and kind of just visually eyeballed it. And then I did my first center punch. And then I just matched my tool to that and did the other 3. So I didn't even use a tape measure. Nothing scientific, just eyeballed it to make it look good. So it works. So you kind of see why I need to create like a drill press, just because I'd have to hang it over the edge for the drill bit to go down through. So what I'm going to do is just kind of, there we go, find the center punch mark by just sliding around the mag drill. There it is right there. This switch on the back right here, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but that is so strong that it lifts. I can pick up that handle and pick up that 3/8 plate right there. And now we just turn it on and drill it. Make sure we're using cutting fluid. That's like effortless, guys. Like zero effort. Then I'll just turn off the switch on the back. Reposition where it needs to be. That looks good. Turn it back on. And away we go. So now we got all our pilot holes drilled, and like I said, I'm going to use a 3/8 anchor into that concrete. I'm going to go 3 sizes bigger than 3/8, just so that I've got a little bit of room to play if the hole goes off into the concrete a little bit. So the size I'm going to be using is 27/64. And this chuck will accept up to a 1/2 inch drill bit. Yeah, it's going to be a fun project, guys, doing the drill press build. And like I said, I'm going to make a fixture table out of this as well. These are all things that you guys can do in your workshop as well, you know. That way, rather than going out and buying a nice quality drill and then a drill press, you can have one tool to do more than one thing. And check this out. So it's got a quick disconnect on this whole headpiece for rough adjustments. So look, now I got fine adjustments with this. Pretty slick, huh? That drilled through that 3/8 plate like it was nothing. Look at the chips it's making. Yeah, that thing blows right through that, no problem. Some of the issues I've had with some of the cheaper mag drills is that when you go to put a lot of pressure on them, that they'll lift up. Granted, this isn't a very big base, but this is a huge amount of magnetic force, so I don't ever see that happening with this. Check that out, guys. These are just all the turnings that from drilling it. So that's from having a nice sharp drill bit and nice constant feed pressure. Look at that. Pretty impressive. Now we got to get this metal cleaned up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit this with a flap disc and do the same thing with this post and just get it cleaned up in the area where our weld's going to be. And then after we get it all welded up, I'll bring this post outside and we'll put a wire brush to it and get it all cleaned up before we paint it, because I just don't want all that dust from the rust inside the workshop. So, but yeah, let's get this cleaned up. Now all we got to do is attach that to that. I'm going to use 1/8 inch 70/18 rods. So for this build, I'm going to be using my TransTig 210. This is an inverter-based, fully digitized welder. And I'm going to be using 1/8 inch 70/18 rods. Now, I'm going to show you a calculator that I use that's really handy if you don't know or have the package that tells you what the rod should be run at. So here are the rods. They're just E70/18s. Let me show you. So what you want to do is type in Miller Welds calculator, and then that'll bring you to that. Click on the Miller welding calculator, and there you go. So the process that we're going to be using, and this is great because it talks about flux core and MIG and TIG and stick. So we're going to do stick. We select the material that we're going to be working with. We're going to be working with mild steel. Now it's having us select the electrode. And we know that we're using 70/18, 1/8 inch. Right there. And there you go. It says it can be used for AC or DC electrode positive. And then it explains that reverse polarity has the most penetration, DC electrode negative, straight polarity has the least penetration. And then it tells you the positions of it, all positions, flat, horizontal, vertical, overhead, and it's a low hydrogen rod. Probably one of the most common. Then at the very bottom, it gives particulars on the description of the rod. Just a real handy calculator, and what we came for, suggested amperage range 110 to 165. So I generally run them around 120 with this type of material, but I haven't run this rod with this welder, so we'll have to find out. So you can see that we're in stick mode, and we'll select it up to 120 amps, and there we go. Now, time's running out, but if you buy one of these, which is the 210 or the 170, and you register it between now and August 31st, 2020, using my promo code, which I'll have links down below, you're going to get a free Fronius Phaser 1000 helmet for free. They're going to throw it in, all yours for nothing. And I think this helmet alone is close to 300 bucks, and I can tell you that it's an awesome helmet. I love it. One thing I do like about it a lot is that it has the shade adjustability on the outside. You can adjust it on the fly without taking it off. A lot of them are adjustable on the inside. So yeah, nice feature. Comfortable. Light too. Someone commented recently about me not wearing safety glasses. I can tell you one thing, I wear safety glasses probably 99.9% of the time. I try to remember all the time, but sometimes I forget. You know, sometimes I'll have them on my head and not realize I'm not wearing them. But what I try to do is, because my safety glasses are mirrored, so that you guys can not talk to someone who's wearing mirrored sunglasses. Generally, I try to take my sunglasses off, or my safety glasses, I'm sorry. But yeah, if I'm not wearing my safety glasses, it's not because I don't believe in them or I'm just being careless. It's probably I've taken them off and you guys just haven't seen me take them off. But yeah, I generally try to wear them under my hood too. I've had a lot of eye injuries. I've had a lot of eye injuries wearing safety glasses, and I've explained some of those injuries to you before, where I've wear it when my hair's a little bit longer. It's one of the reasons I keep my hair short, because of grinding metal, just thin grinding particles. And then you go in and you go to take a shower and the water's running down your face, and of course you're in the shower and you rub your eyes because it feels good, and then you push all of the stuff that was in your hair into your eyeballs, and then you have to go to the doctors. And if you guys have never experienced having metal removed from your eye, it is brutal. It's horrible. The worst one I ever had was I had several pieces embedded, and they were digging it out of my eye for so long that I was convinced that they actually, because they stick a needle in your eye and they pick the metal out with a needle in your eyeball. Granted, your eyeball's numbed up, but just sitting in the chair knowing that they're doing it is horrible. I was convinced that they had dug it out of this eye, and when they were doing it, that they flicked it into this one, because this one now started watering and it was bothering me. What had happened is that they didn't really flick it in. They had worked on it for so long that my brain was like doing what they called sympathy pain. basically my brain was saying, we've had enough of this, it needs to stop. So it was making my other eye act up, making me think that there was something in it. So yeah, eye injuries are no joke. They're brutal and they're horrible. So wear your safety gear. Sometimes I take a little bit of a shortcut when it's hot, but that's on me. You know, as a grown adult, I've been fortunate. I have good vision. I have no permanent injuries. I try to wear my ear protection when I'm grinding and stuff. Especially when you get older, it becomes more important. So I'm not going to be a preacher to this, but just, you know, try to get into the good habits now, and they'll stick with you for life. Again, I'm running 7018, 1/8 inch. We're running DC electrode negative, 120 amps. We'll get this tacked into place. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now, we didn't have to get too critical making sure that this was 90 degrees or perfectly 90 degrees to this, just because when we anchor this down to the concrete, we're going to shim underneath it and make this absolutely perfectly plumb both ways. So as long as it's like, you know, not egregiously way off, but it's pretty close to 90 right now. It's almost perfect, but you don't have to spend a whole lot of time getting it perfect to do what we're trying to do here. Let's go get this thing sandblasted and ready for paint. This right here, guys, is an awesome tool to have. What it is, it's just a hand sandblaster. I don't use it all the time, but boy, when I do, it's awesome to have, and it's perfect for cleaning up stuff like this. Yes, you could wire brush it and stuff. This just does a much better job. Not a lot of money. And this stuff is cheap. This is Black Beauty, but you can get sand, you can get walnut chips, depending on what you're working on. You don't need to spend a whole lot to get set up. This right here is the same mask that I wear when I'm welding, and I have a different one when I paint. But I do this one for welding fumes, and I do it for when I'm sandblasting. And then you just want a hood to put on. All this is a sandblasting hood. It's not a lot of money again. It's just basically a hard hat with a screen over it and a lens. So yeah, pretty straightforward, but yeah, that'll clean this right up, and then we can paint it. It'll give it a nice surface so that the paint will bite right into it. Like I say, super easy to use, not a lot of moving parts or things that can go wrong, so that makes it nice. Hopefully this works all right. It seems a little damp. And you just connect the air line to it, and that's it. And turn it on here. That stuff was too clumpy, so I'm going to do something different. I'm going to use this stuff now. So this is glass. It's a little less susceptible to the moisture, so we'll use the glass grip. Now I'm just going to spray paint it with some general purpose paint and primer, and that'll make it look good for years to come. Well, you won't see it, but that'll protect it. Here's our finished post. Now we just have to anchor this into the step, and the way we're gonna determine where that needs to be is we'll grab the base and we'll throw that over the top, and we'll make the base look good and even on the edge of the step. So kind of like that, looks pretty even. And then we'll just take the post and center that in the space. Now we just got to drill it. And for a drill, I'm using a 3/8 masonry bit on a hammer drill. Now I'm just using a 3/8 wedge anchor. There, so what I did, guys, is I just tightened down this so it secures this post tight, and now I can drill the remaining 3 without worrying about the drill bit skipping off and me having the holes misaligned. So we're only going to be able to get 2 anchors in it. This thing is loaded with rebar, and I've already cracked it trying to get through it. So I think it's going to be all right. We've only got 2. It is what it is, and we're going to have to just make do with it. I'd like to have 4 in there, but it doesn't get a lot of force against it. So it is what it is. So I've kind of fixed everything a little bit. It's not ideal, but it is what it is. So the post is plumb this way. It's really good, and it's really good that way. The way I've shimmed it is I've used stainless steel washers underneath and all stainless steel fasteners, and it's good and rugged. It's not going anywhere. Front and back, it's plenty solid. And I used construction adhesive on this broken piece. You got to remember that the trim right there is going to hide about 90% of that break, so I'm not overly concerned about it. I would have liked to have gotten 4 in this, but it is what it is, you know. There's a ton of rebar that's in this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the excess thread there and there. And I'll show you a little trick on how I do that. Now this right here is a drop-in anchor. That's why that one's so much longer. It's basically a little piece that you just drop in the hole, you hit it, and then it flares it out and it's threaded. So that's just actually a piece of threaded rod that's down in there. So, and this is a wedge anchor here. So yeah, let me show you how I cut this off. One of the easiest ways of doing it is to thread on a nut, just like that, then cut it off, and then when you back off the nut, it chases the threads so that you can get a nut back on it again. Now this is just a continuous rim diamond blade, and I'm just going to cut it a couple threads above the nut. Now all I got to do is just back it off with a wrench, and it'll chase any burrs that are on the threads, so we'll be able to get a nut back on it again, just like that. And we'll do the same thing for the back side. And here it is, guys. I got a few blocks of wood, and I'm just going to make center. I've already traced center onto this one, and I'm just going corner to corner with my speed square. And then I've got a flat wood boring bit. I'm going to go through it this way and then through it that way and slide it on that post out front. I think that that's going to work, but we'll do one and try it and test it out and make sure it does. Alright, I gotta go give it a try and see if it works, but that's what we got right there. Just a little too tight. I gotta go the next size up. I knew it was gonna be close, but yeah, that's okay. I'll just go up one size and it should work. This is the bit we were using. This is the bit we're using now. Alright, so I've drilled a larger hole through this piece of scrap, and then I screwed temporarily this scrap down into our block. And that's how you can start a larger hole when you've already made a prior hole before. If not, this would just skip all around. So now I can get this started. Then I can just take this off my scrap now that I got my hole started. Then I just take this, center it over my hole, put a couple screws in it. That acts as a guide. Now this will go right down through. And there. I know that'll fit the railing now. I feel pretty confident this is going to work now. So. Oh yeah, look at that. Yep. So now we'll just keep drilling more. Doesn't have to fit tight, and then once we get them all built up to here, then our post sleeve will slide right over it, and then we'll have wood we can screw into for our railing. If I had some pressure treated boards, I could also make like a picture frame out of wood, you know, miter the corners and do it that way, but I don't have any boards like that are pressure treat. I've got this 4x4, and then the post would be in the middle. That's something that you could do. But I have these 4x4s, that's why I'm doing it this way. I already have the material. And there they are. We'll probably have to cut one of them off to length, and we'll do that one right there. Just get rid of that top. Yeah, look at that. Made some dirt and dust. That's why I hate working with wood. It's just so messy. Alright, last one. So you can see how that is. And then we just got to glue those tops on. But yeah, check that out. Pretty slick, huh? And that's why I say hardly any of that bottom would show. You do see a little bit of a crack, but when these aren't all trampled down from me, you won't see any of that. And I've got construction adhesive in there gluing that all together. So, all right, now what we got left to do is just put that little bit of railing in. There it is, guys, all done. I am super happy how this came out, other than the broken precast tread. But yeah, it's super rugged. Just as strong as any of the other posts anywhere else, and that's all that mattered. And you can't even tell how we built that because it's all buried inside. But when you open up the top, oh yeah, a little hidey hole. Yep, put secret things in there. So yeah, there it is. It is done. See last week's episode, the one where a phone scammer called me and I got him to subscribe to the channel, and he actually called me back the next day. I like messing with phone scammers. I figure as long as I have them on the phone, it's less time that they have to prey on someone else who actually buys into it and might actually give them some of their hard-working money. If you haven't seen that episode, go ahead and check it out. I'll put a link up above. But I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. If this is something that you like, please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. If you're wondering what I'm working on before it makes it up to YouTube, you guys can catch me on Facebook and on Instagram. I'll have links down below. If you guys are wondering about any of the tools that you see me using here, I also have links down below to that. I upload new videos every Friday, so be sure to check back, hit the bell notification, please subscribe if you're not, and until next Friday, guys, I will see you then. Take care, stay safe, see ya.